Hi guys, welcome to One's Coaching, and today we'll be going with critical reasoning. Now, most people, they tend to think critical reasoning is the same as reading comprehension. I mean, everybody makes that mistake. But what exactly is the difference between both of these? The answer is pretty evident. It is evident in the name itself. Critical reasoning is reasoning. Reading comprehension is comprehending something, as in what you understood from reading. Alright. Now, critical reasoning is one of the major sections that you can find in verbal ability papers on multiple competitive exams. For example, CAT, CLAT, GMAT, GATE, etc. Now, what most people don't know is this is one of the most hardest parts of any verbal aptitude paper. Now, as you know, verbal aptitude, like we mentioned in our previous module, has got 4 sections. Vocabulary, grammar, reading comprehension, and of course, critical reasoning. But what most people think is grammar is the toughest part. Now, reality check. Grammar is not the toughest part. This is the toughest part. And today, we'll be going into a brief introduction of critical reasoning, what all can we face in it, and how to tackle things. Alright, so let's get on with it and pay attention. So, what exactly is critical reasoning? Now, the standard definition is critical reasoning is the ability to think clearly and rationally. Now, rationally, what is the meaning of rationally? The ability to think with clarity, the ability to find reason behind things, that is rationality. Alright? This procedure is used to actively and subjectively analyze, question, and evaluate statements or situations. Now, normally when somebody tells you something, you are an absorber of information. But when you're critically reasoning or critically thinking, you're not just absorbing data, you are thinking and absorbing data. You're not a passive recipient, you're an active thinker there. See, this procedure is used to actively and subjectively analyze. Subjectively means putting yourself out of the equation or making sure your thinking process is from a third-person perspective and evaluate statements or situations. This procedure can be used to handle situations, can be used to handle passages, can be used to handle statements, etc. The usage of critical reasoning is varied, but in this section we'll be only going for the aptitude section of it. The remaining part, probably I think life is going to teach you better. Now, in other words, critical reasoning requires candidates to use the ability to find a reason behind everything. See, this is the most common saying in the world. There is a reason behind everything. And critical thinking takes it to the most practical level. As in, you're supposed to know that behind every statement, behind every situation, behind anything that is reported to you, there is always a reason. And your task is to find that reason and to reason with it. Alright? So, it is about being an active learner or thinker than being a passive receiver of information. When people are talking to you, you become a passive recipient if you're sitting quietly and just listening and accepting whatever they're giving you. But if you are an active learner or thinker, whatever information you get, you always think, you always break it down, you always reason. And that is critical reasoning. Now, critical reasoning or critical thinking involves 3 major components or elements. Number 1, thinking for yourself. Normally, people think based on the situation or the data that is provided for them. In that case, they become a passive receiver. That is the only situation in which they become that passive receiver. But when you are thinking for yourself, you tend to become an active learner or thinker. Data is coming into your mind. As the data flow is happening, you are thinking, you are reasoning behind the data. And that's when you arrive at conclusions. In that particular point, instead of being passive and just absorbing, you are being active and being a thinker over there. And that is one of the major elements which comprises the critical reasoning procedure. Number 2, informed reasoning. See, every reason needs to be supported by information. You can just accept anybody's reason or you can accept their explanation of the reason. That is what the second module is all about, informed reasoning. Reasoning has to be informed. Otherwise, it's just blind reasoning which cannot get you to the right conclusion where you're supposed to end up at. So, always remember, informed reasoning is a major aspect. And last, critical reflection. Now, critical means being harsh or being third person, as in you got your conclusion. Now you reflect on that conclusion from another person's perspective. Suppose if I have this one conclusion in my mind, I am stuck. Suppose if I'm in the middle of trouble and I have this conclusion on my hand, okay, I have so and so number of problems. I'm facing financial issues. I'm facing family issues. I'm facing social issues. Because of all these reasons, I am stuck in life. Now, that is your conclusion. Now, suppose if a third person is looking at it, okay, this person is claiming he's stuck. Now, is he really stuck? His financial position can be solved by certain financial institutions. His family issues can be solved by thinking. His social issues can be solved with interaction. In other words, his conclusion of being stuck is just a temporary notion. It can be changed. That is critical reflection. All right. So this is a base idea on what critical reasoning is supposed to be and what you are supposed to be putting yourself into. All right. Now, when it comes to critical reasoning questions, the general structure is you will be given a small passage, and based on the passage, you might find a singular question or more than one question. In the case of a single question, you will find maybe one operation. That should be enough. But when it comes to more than one question per passage, it is known as compound questions. And in compound questions, you have more than one operation per passage. And we'll be discussing that in detail in the upcoming modules. So, let's carry on forward. Now, the types of general operations that you can face when it comes to critical reasoning. Now, in critical reasoning, like I mentioned, you'll find one passage and you will find one question based on the passage or multiple questions based on the passage. But when it comes to critical reasoning, there are always these 5 general operations, all right? 4 of which are very common. The 5th one is quite rare because you would mostly find them in practical situations such as interviews. In very less cases, you might find it when it comes to, critical reasoning papers. Mostly, you'd find this last one as in future course of action or possible outcomes. You'd find them mostly in interviews and or case studies. All right. So let's start with the first one. Assumption. Now, assumption is something which you guys have been studying from the time you were in school. I believe all of you remember the time in maths class when your sir comes into the class and he writes on the board, let us assume so and so thing to be X. And that's when you know your day is going to be boring. Kidding. Now, when it comes to assumption, it means taking an informed or a calculative guess or taking a temporary decision based on the information provided to us. I'll repeat that. Normally, people tend to think that assumption is guessing or imagining. But there's a big difference there. When it comes to assumption, the difference between assumption and guessing or imagining is that assumption is always followed by reasoning with data. All right. That is why the proper definition of assumption is taking a temporary decision that is based on the data that is provided to us. All right. Based on the data that is provided to us, we take a decision. Next, conclusion. Now, conclusion, I believe all of you guys know very well. It means the final decision, the final outcome, the ending. That is the meaning of conclusion. Now, number 3, strengthening or weakening an argument. All right. Now, this is one of the most common operations you'd find in almost all papers. That includes CAT, CLAT, GMAT, and of course, GATE. Now, strengthening or weakening an argument. It's pretty easy, but still, it requires a little bit of thinking. As in, like I mentioned in the previous part, critical reflection. But let's start off with a very basic aspect, the meaning of argument. Now, when it comes to statement, when it comes to critical reasoning passages, there are always 2 major components: statements, arguments. Now, I'll give you a statement. An example of a statement is, it is going to rain tonight. It is going to rain tonight. All right. Now, I made a statement. It is going to rain tonight. Now, suppose if I say it in another way. Since it was cloudy the whole evening, it is going to rain tonight. Okay, now see the difference between both of these. First one, it is going to rain tonight. Second one, since it was cloudy the whole evening, it is going to rain tonight. Now the first one which I mentioned, it is going to rain tonight. I'm being definitive, I'm being positive. That is a statement. It is going to rain tonight is a statement. Now, in the second sentence, what I mentioned before the statement, since it was rainy, since it was cloudy the whole evening, it is going to rain tonight. The second part or the second half of that sentence, it is going to rain tonight, is a statement. The first half, since it was cloudy the whole evening, is the argument. All right. The argument is the sentence or the part which supports the statement. All right. So your task is to strengthen or weaken the argument. I'll give you a very classic example. Suppose you and I, let's take your name to be X, my name is Vishnu, and there is a third person called Y. Okay. So suppose X and me, X is you, and me, we are having an argument. I say ice cream is better than chocolate, and you tell me chocolate is better than ice cream. Let's repeat that again. I'm telling you ice cream is better than chocolate, and you are telling me chocolate is better than ice cream. Now suppose between this argument of ours, Mr. Y comes in, and Mr. Y says, you know, I think chocolate is better than ice cream. Let's repeat that. Rewind the whole thing. Think again. I'm saying ice cream is better than chocolate. You are saying chocolate is better than ice cream. The third person, Mr. Y, comes in and says, I think chocolate is better than ice cream. In that case, Mr. Y is strengthening your argument and weakening my argument. Simple as that. Strengthening an argument means supporting the argument, and weakening an argument means going against it. So suppose in the question they're asking you, choose the option which strengthens the argument present in the passage. In that case, you should choose the option which supports the passage. Okay? If they're telling, choose the option which strengthens the argument present in the passage, then you should choose the option which supports the passage. Now suppose if they're telling you, choose the option which most weakens the argument present in the passage or the above mentioned argument, then you should choose the argument which, or the option which will go against the passage. Strengthening is supporting, weakening is going against. And now we come to the last one, inference. Now, all of you are science students. You know what is inference. I mean, all of you guys must have gone through this a whole lot. Your teachers must have questioned you a whole lot. Inference means what you absorbed or what you understood. That's the meaning of inference. All right. Inference is what you absorbed or what you understood. In simple words, whatever is the essence or the meaning mentioned in the passage is known as inference. All right. So guys, let's have a quick revision. Assumption means assuming, as in taking a temporary decision based on whatever data is provided to you. That decision could stay permanent or may change. Number two, conclusion. Conclusion is the final decision or the final settlement. Strengthening or weakening an argument. Strengthening means supporting the passage. Weakening means going against the passage. And of course, inference. Inference means what you absorbed or what you understood from the entire passage. And now we come to the last one and the most rarest option, future course of action or possible outcome. In this case, you will be provided with details or a situation. Details regarding a situation or a situation in its whole. And what you have to do is critically analyze that situation and choose what other conclusion or what other action could come after that. Maybe, let's say take for an example, the rise of liquor consumption in Kerala is increasing. All right? The liquor consumption in Kerala is increasing drastically. Now, maybe, just maybe, the government did not do anything about it, or maybe the government raised taxes for liquor. Maybe. What you are supposed to do is, after listening to all this, you could think of other possible outcomes. For example, the state decided to regulate the amount of liquor consumption per person, or the state decided to regulate bar licenses. So other possible outcomes or other course of actions or future courses, all of these come under the last category. Now these 5 are the most common general operations that you could face. Now we'll go for the basic definition and a brief discussion about each in the upcoming slides. Let's go. Now, assumption stands for something that is accepted as a certain without definitive proof. In other words, a temporary decision until proven otherwise. In this type of critical reasoning, by reading the given statements, as in data that is provided to us, candidates need to take the right decision. Here, taking the right decision means selecting the correct assumption. See, let's look at the more core aspects. Something that is accepted as certain without definitive proof. A temporary decision till proven otherwise. These are the main elements. In other words, data regarding a particular situation will be presented to you in the form of a passage, in the form of statements, or in the form of even a dialogue between 2 people. What you have to do is choose the right assumption, as in what is accepted by the situation based on the statements, by reading the given statements and without definitive proof. Now, you're supposed to be taking this decision as certain till proven otherwise. If there is no proof to say something else is the conclusion, then what you have taken initially, that is your answer. So, in simple words, assumption is taking a temporary decision based on the details or the statements provided to you and choosing the right answer or the correct assumption as made by the situation based on whatever is provided to us. Alright? So, that is assumption. Now, let's go to the next one. Conclusion. Now, conclusion stands for, as I mentioned, the final decision or judgment based on the facts or reasons provided. In this case, a definitive end is reached. Now, guys, remember, when it comes to assumption, we are taking a temporary decision. But when it comes to conclusion, a definitive end is reached. Alright? Based on the candidates, that is yours, perusal of the facts and arguments provided. Perusal means understanding or scrutiny or study or analysis of whatever the facts and arguments are provided to you. Alright? So, in this type of critical reasoning, a passage or statements will be given followed by some conclusions, as in decisions which are given as a part of the passage. Now, using your perusal or study of whatever is provided, you are supposed to reach a final decision or judgment. That is conclusion. Simple, right? Let's go to the next one. Strengthening or weakening an argument. An argument is a set of statements that are provided in the question. They usually provide details pertaining to the situation and how the current statement has been reached. Now, remember what I said. They usually provide details pertaining to the situation and how the current statement has been reached. You remember that example which I've given you. It is going to rain tonight. Alright? Now, remember what I told you before that. Since it was cloudy the whole evening, it is going to rain tonight. Current statement is, it is going to rain tonight. Details pertaining to the situation, since it was cloudy the whole evening. So that is how an argument and a statement is related. When asked for strengthening a particular argument or situation, the candidate must choose the option or statement that supports the argument presented in the passage. Strengthening means support. On the other hand, for weakening, the option which contradicts or goes opposite or against the argument present in the passage must be chosen. So once again, strengthening means supporting, weakening means going against. Simple. Let's go to the next one. Inference. Inference stands for what is meant or cleared by the passage. Whatever the details or whatever argument in the passage gives you as a whole for making a final absorption or understanding is known as your inference. This usually means the takeaway factor based on the reading and understanding of the passage. What you read and what you took away. Took away means what you got from the passage. When asked to choose the inference, the candidate has to choose the option that most closely resembles the essence or meaning of the passage or argument. So, if they're asking you for an inference, always go for whatever is the closest summary or the essence or the meaning from your understanding of the passage. Let's go to the next one. Now, there's always shortcuts when it comes to getting clear answers. We studied the operations. Now let's go for the next major aspects, the types of passages. Now, as you all remember from school level, I don't know how many of you guys remember, but I still remember. When it comes to passages, there are 6 types, of which the first 5 are very much easy to access online and hence very common to find in almost all question papers. The 6th one, however, is a little bit rare. I'll give you a brief explanation of all of this and we will conclude this module and go to part by part or operation by operation solving your questions. Let's start with the first one, argumentative. Argumentative kind of passages are those which provide specific arguments or viewpoints. Alright? Argumentative passages are the ones which provide specific arguments, viewpoints, which will actually support whatever statement is provided in the passage. But there's one thing which you must note. When it comes to an argumentative passage, the argument that is mentioned to support the statement will be given in multiple ways. As in more than one data point will be there for supporting one single argument, which we will go through when we are doing the questions. Number 2, analytical. Now, as you all know, analysis means study or explaining something. Analytical type of passages are the ones which break a subject down part by part and explain each part. Alright? As in they give you a detailed study of the main subject, which makes it actually quite easy to understand or absorb. Number 3, descriptive. Descriptive means concentration of data, a solid chunk of data. The easiest way to identify descriptive passages, what I found from my life till now, is long sentences. You see, when it comes to sentences, if they are small or medium sized, you read it once, the data stays in your mind. But suppose if the sentence is long, it's difficult for the data to stay in your head. That's what makes descriptive a real challenge. Concentration of data. My personal suggestion when it comes to descriptive kind of questions is, when you're reading the passage, it is always advisable to take notes along the side. It will help you reach conclusions more effectively. Next one, narrative. Now, narrative means a person's point of view. It could be your point of view or the point of view of someone who reports the whole situation to you. Now, suppose somebody is telling you the current situation in the General Assembly is a complete mess. The bill passing has caused a whole uproar between both houses. Now, you can see that somebody is clearly reporting the situation over there to you. There is one person's point of view, the narrators. That is how you identify narrative passages. A single person's point of view. It can either be a direct point of view or a report. That is narrative. And the last one, factual. Factual means facts. Now, a passage can be classified as factual if it contains any one of the following: numbers, figures, dates, statistics, scientific facts. If any of these are present in a passage, the passage becomes factual. But now, there is a general mistake which people usually make. Almost everyone believes that if a proper noun, as in if a person's name or a place's name is present in a passage, it is factual. That is not true. Alright? When it comes to factual, you should have numbers, figures, statistics which support the data or support the statements that are provided within the passage. Or even if it's a full-length scientific fact, even if that is present, a passage can be considered as factual. Alright? Now, these are the most common type of passages you can find. The last one, the elusive one, is philosophical. Philosophical means deep explanation in a short amount of words. Alright, that's what makes it confusing. Deep explanation in short amount of words. Now, you can imagine, suppose if something is explained in depth in very short amount of words, there has to be one main thing in it, vocabulary. You will find extremely strong vocabulary in philosophical type of passages, which makes them difficult on two levels. One, because of construction, and two, because of words. So, if you get the last one, deep explanation in a short amount of words, you have to be extremely careful. Alright? So, these are the 6 types of passages you can face and the 5 types of operations that you could face. So, I believe that pretty much covers the basic of what is critical reasoning, the types of passages and the operations we could face. Now, one by one, in the upcoming modules, we'll be going through these and we shall be solving questions as well. Any doubts or anything you guys have, please do get back to us at once and we'll be more than happy to submit and clear every query you guys have. Alright? So, guys, thank you very much for attending this session with me. It was an absolute pleasure to be here with you guys and I will see you in the next one. And as you see, we have all our socials over here. Anything we can do, please do get back to us. Thank you very much.